Today I have a counseling tip that would work either for an adult or a teen, and that's about the emancipation phase of adolescent where a teen leaves home and the resulting empty nest kind of feeling or syndrome that many parents have. This was proposed to me in a private message, this topic. Anyway, both parents and kids have jobs in a family, and it is the job of the child to grow up, find themselves their own little light that they have to shine in the world, and then to go forth and do that in a way that is financially self-sustaining and doesn't cause harm to the rest of the world or their communities or loved ones. It is an adult's job or a parent's job to provide for their child, and that's energy, attention, finances, all sorts of ways that they have to provide, and safety, boundaries, and then to do that in a less and less constrictive way until the young person is ultimately able to launch and take care of their lives on their own. Sometimes problems arise in this process. Of course, there's lots of problems when a young person doesn't emancipate or individuate, doesn't find themselves either, because they don't find their own identity or they can't support themselves financially. And that's a whole other story. But what I want to talk about now is when they do. And this is a process. It's not an all or nothing. Usually starts at 18 and goes through the 20s while they develop self-sufficiency. But as they do this process, it can be difficult for both parents and teens in several ways. For the young person, a lot of times when they leave home, they get a very critical eye of their parents. It's like, oh, they did that? That was what my life was like? Are you serious? That's ridiculous. As they start finding out how other people live, they can, compare their own life. And a lot of times there's things that they will find lacking. And that's an important process, actually, because if they don't criticize, they tend to repeat. At least that's what I find. And they don't want to repeat. They want to do their own thing. And hopefully they can stand on the shoulders of their parents and lead lives that are healthier and more full of growth and promise. So that's actually a great thing. But that can be a painful process for both. Another thing that can happen that can complicate it from the kid's end or young person's end is when they leave and just get so busy in their own lives and kind of forget about parents as anything other than a source of security when they're not feeling good or when they need something. And so parents can feel used and resentful about that. So there's a lot of complications from the parents' end too. Oh, and beyond that, for young people, it's scary to go out there in the world and to make it on their own and to find themselves amid so many choices, and to, be able to support themselves eventually. That's a lot. Develop a marriage or relationship that's meaningful. Have kids or not. Huge decisions and choices, and it can seem pretty overwhelming. By the way, if you hear that, there's a plumber working next door, so it's really noisy in here today. Oh well, so it goes. So anyway, for parents, hard things can be feelings of resentment. Like, let's say they're feeling used by their young person. They don't really know how to talk about that because they are so attached to them, and they're afraid if they say anything that the young person will just drift farther. So what I encourage is to speak up anyway, and for parents to learn to be assertive with their young people more as adult to adult than parent to child. And so that's sharing as an adult would with another adult, like, hey, it bugs me that you're not initiating any contact with me and I make all the phone calls unless you need some money. Putting it out there and expecting them to be able to take it and reciprocate in some kind of way. And that's a process. They may be shocked, they may not like that at first, but eventually you're training them how to have another kind of more peer-to-peer relationship, or at least equal adult in many ways. So another thing that can be hard for parents is that there's just this huge loss. There was this person who they adored like crazy. And I know not all parents love their kids, but most do, by far most do. And it's just a huge loss to lose this person they love so much in their life all the time. They're gone, they're far away or distant and not right there. So it's important to grieve that in healthy ways, not through like drowning oneself in substance abuse or brownies, but learning how to tolerate those feelings, being kind to yourself as you're going through them, getting into exercise or something like that to just burn some of the toxic whatever in your body and create some happy chemicals going on. Anyway, all those kind of healthy ways to do grief. See a counselor if it doesn't stop or seem like it's moving. Another thing that can be hard for parents when their young people leave is an identity crisis. Like they've been mom or dad, and now who are they when they're not being mom or dad? So they have to find something else there. This can be a great opportunity to get involved in one's community in a more proactive kind of way, like volunteering, which is an awesome way. I see a lot of older adults hang out with each other through doing projects and being involved in their communities in those kind of healthy, supportive ways. And we tend to have more time to do that as we're older and our communities need us. So yay for volunteering. Another thing they could look at doing is hobby related. Like I really got into writing when my kids were gone. That's been really nice. Or whatever that is for you, finding something like that. Another issue with young people leaving home is that it signifies the beginning of old age or older age for a lot of us as parents. And that can be a really scary time for a lot of people. It's important, though, to look at that in an open-minded way. Like there's lots of cultures that, death and old age and all that, that's more part of life and it's expected and embraced, and it's like that's another transition, so we just get ready for that one. Much like our young people are just getting ready to launch into the world of busyness and ambition and families and all that kind of stuff that we used to do. So ways that you can prepare yourself more for the downhill slide is to kind of find a way to relax with yourself. Because your focus isn't going to be so much out there, but more internal. Maybe that's learning and developing a meditation practice. Maybe you get into yoga to help you learn to be centered with yourself. Maybe it's through your church, your pastor, your priest, that you find more solace in a spiritual world. Maybe through nature, you can experience an eternal one or whatever it is. But those more simple kind of pursuits that are compatible with our dwindling capacity to be busy beings out about in the world are really healthy to get involved in and prioritize. So anyway, emancipation, individuation is a difficult time of life, both for young people because it's so scary and challenging, and for their parents because they just miss them by and large. So I wish you all the best with this process. I hope you can be kind to each other, and I hope I've been of help.